Today we continue with our class Shabbos Home, and this section and all of them that we're going to learn today should be dedicated also to Refuah Shlema or dear Rabbi Yaron Reuven Shlita and his name Yaron Ben Doris, also Refuah Shlema Yehudis Bas Noach, Ariela Ora Bas Anna, Imi Morasi Rachel Bas Brindel, David Shlomo Ben Sandra, and also for release from prison, our dear friend Moshe Shmuel Ben Pnina. So we continue today with our class Shabbos Home, when we go over the 39 Melachahs that works that forbidden activities, let's put it this way, that are not allowed on Shabbos, and one of them is tying knots. We're on chapter 13. Quickly go over what we said last time. If we said it last time, if we're going to review a little what we said last time, there is no problem. Just continue. And it says, so it is forbidden on Shabbos to tie double knot, right? Regardless how long it will remain intact, but we're going to say there is some exception. So next one, tying single knot. Tying a single knot in a single strand, meaning like in the middle, like as we said in garbage bags. Sometimes so that's what people do, or or some pliable materials like a rope or something would not be allowed. Another one, we say single knot in a bow, right? If it's left more than for 1 day, we said exception maybe 7 days. And number 4. So meaning if you tie the knot in a bow and it's and it is what if you have intention to untie, there is no problem. Okay, but leave it then indefinitely is not allowed, and we say for a long period of time, and we said maybe longer than 1 day. And the last one, any knot that people sometimes leave in place permanently, whatever is it, would not be allowed to tie. Okay, so now we're up to section number 3, various methods of tying that are permitted. So now what is permitted? And it says, up to this point we have discussed the restrictions of restriction pertaining to the knots, both professional and non-professional ones. Okay, we will now discuss various methods of tying that are permitted. Okay, so now some of these methods do not involve knot at all, and may therefore be employed when even to fasten something permanently. Others involve knots that are considered non-professional and may be employed only in temporary fastening. So let's go over quickly of this review, let's not review the introduction and try to understand. So again, up to this point, we have discussed restrictions pertaining to knots, both professional and not professional. So today we say we don't know, we don't have a clear idea what is not professional. What is professional? Okay, some sophisticated knot, basically, right? What is not professional? So most of the things that a simple person can tie, like a double knot, it's not professional, but it is permanent, right? All other knots, a knot in a bow, a single knot in a bow would be also not professional, right? But some of them could be permanent. So two conditions according to one opinion: permanent and professional. We will now discuss various methods of tying permitted, right? So when we will need to see whether the tying meaning leaving the things in place is going to be considered as a knot or not, right? So for example, when you use a twist knot, right? A twist wire, we're going to see. So is it not? It's not knot, but it's going to stay there permanently. Some of the methods do not involve knot, right, at all. So we're going to give the definition, but and that's why it's going to be allowed, right? Even it's going to stay permanently, like wind around, right? And we say, are you allowed to wind around and stuck the ends like inside? So I mean, it's going to stay there, maybe not permanently, but for a very long time. Some of the methods, okay, one second. Others involve knots that are considered non-professional and may be employed only on temporary fastening, meaning, but it's still for a long period of time, right? No, it's for short period of time, right? And not professional. Okay. So A, single knot. A single knot involves the two strands of rope. For example, first stage of tying shoelaces is not halakhically considered a knot, and at all, since it tends to come apart naturally through the slightest pressure. It is therefore permitted to tie this type of knot on Shabbos and draw it tight, even if one does not intend to ever untie it. Okay, so that's amazing. Example, what it could be, like as we said last time, maybe a food storage bag, right? You have bread, like you want to put in a second, let's say one bread, plastic bag in another plastic bag. You tie with one knot. It's more than enough. Like you leave it on the counter, it's going to stay like this. Or, for example, we have garbage that starts smelling. It's very hot outside, right? So you can remove it from the garbage pail and do single knot. So single knot, as they say, even a tight one, there is no problem. Where else you would do a single knot? Practically, I'm not sure. I mean, right? Anywhere, wherever you want to do single knot, and right, so no problem. So now B, bows. A bow without underlying knot is also not considered knot. Okay. One is permitted to make a bow even if it draws it tight, right? And even if one intends to leave it in place permanently. So a bow is not a knot. I mean, it's almost like a single knot. Okay. It is also permissible to make one bow on top of the other. The one to leave them tied permanently. Since both unravel through the single tug at the end of the string, even a double knot is considered a knot. It's not considered a knot. So since you just pull a little on one end and it's going to get undo, right? So now it's not considered a knot. So what is the difference between a knot and a bow? So even when you pull the one string, so the knot under the bow is going to stay there. So it's not completely undone. So it's partially undone. So that's the difference between the bow and the knot, and bow and the knot. Next one is slip knots. Slip knot is not considered a knot since it's come apart in a single tug. It may therefore be tied even permanently. So that's why it is allowed to tie necktie, right? In a simple, I don't remember the names. A simple knot. Okay. So because you just pull the short, like the thin end, and it's going to get undone. Okay. So why is it permitted? Because of this. Okay. D, single knot with a bow. Although single knot with single knot and a single bow is not considered knot individually, and single knot with a bow on top of it, it is considered a knot since the bow holds it since the bow holds the underlying knot in place, and it does not unravel completely with the one tug. However, this is not professional knot, and thus it may be tied temporarily for less than 24 hours. So this, let's stop on this because it's more practical. Even though we explained, so like individual one knot is not considered to be knot. Individual bow is not considered to be bow. Again, why you can just with simple tag, it's undone. But when you do knot, single knot and a bow, so even if you tag it, right, it's still going to remain the knot under the bow. So that's why it is not allowed, but it's not professional. So if you need it for less than 24 hours, you can tie it. So examples would be shoes, of course, as we said before, and a belt. So if you have men or women have like a raincoat belt, right? So they can tie it with a knot in the bow. Okay. What else? If women have like a dress with a belt, they also can tie it, right? Because yeah, they would untie it. Okay, continue. Single knot in a bow. So it's E. Single knot in a bow. The ends tucked in. So that's single knot with the ends tucked in. So meaning that they did one knot and then tucked in. So I mean, if it's tight, right? If it's tight and you tucked in the ends, so it's going to stay there. Okay. Right, but still, this tucked when the act of tucking is not a knot. It's not a knot. It's open. Yeah, it's going to hold there because of the pressure, right? Because it's tight, but it's not considered a knot. Although single knot by itself is not halachically considered a knot, if the ends of string are then tucked in beneath the beneath the string, is considered a knot, for it will not unravel without manipulation. However, this is not professional knot and may be tied temporarily. Right. I think what example we said. I think the example we said in olden days, a Sefer Torah, right? So Sefer Torah, they would wind around like some piece of cloth, some material, the belt, right? Before the Velcro, before this like special mechanisms, so whatever they use today, right? And they would tie it and tucked in the ends. Okay. So right, but this was one of the exceptions. For sure, it's not professional, right? It's not professional, and it's right. But if you don't touch it, it's not going to undone by itself. That's why they allowed temporarily. So in the case of the Sefer Torah, since it is for the mitzvah, so they allowed to leave it in place because it's less than for 7 days, right? Even if you did it after the last reading on Shabbos, which is Shabbos Mincha, so meaning next time you're going to read only, in 2 days, like Sunday and on Monday. So that's how they allowed. Okay, so it's one of the exceptions. So again, usually 24 hours, but there is special conditions. Case of the mitzvah. Right. So continue. F. Wrapping with the ends tucked in. If string is merely wrapped tightly around the item and the ends tucked in, there is no basis for prohibition at all, since there is no knot. Therefore, employ these methods of wrapping even if he intends to leave the string in place permanently, right? So example would be, as we said, this wire nuts, right? So wire, it's whatever they call, like the string. The string that we used to call, I mean, they still use the day to seal the packages. So if you just like wrap it around, like and leave it like that, because there is a wire inside, it's not going to get undone, and there is no problem. Since there is no knot, it is permissible, right? Even if you want to do it on a permanent basis. I think in the olden days, I don't know like when, but I remember you using these wires many. Like a lot, but today I think they do plastic or something. Okay, so continue. Okay, so again, one knot, and then you go around to wrap around with a string is considered to be not is considered to be not, but not professional. So undo in a 24 hours. But if you just wrap around tightly, and without knots, it's just tucked in the ends. It's not considered to be knot, and you can do it anyway, right? And you can even leave permanently. So I don't think we did it last time. I think so. But somehow right. Okay, continue. G, losing double knot. Lose double knot. A double knot that is not drawn tight is considered non-professional knot and may be tied for less than 24 hours. For example, it is permitted to tie a belt of the coat in a loose double knot, since one will obviously undo the knot within the 24 hours in order to remove the coat. Okay, so loose double knot. So again, so if it's not too tight, I usually like, especially in this example of coat, nobody would do it tightly. So just to hold the coat in place. I think it's fine even without this belt, right? But it's more than for the look, I think. Okay. Right. So it's not professional knot, right? If tied for less than 24 hours, but of course you need to take off your coat, raincoat or like a winter coat. So and you're going to undo it in less than 24 hours, then there is no problem. Okay. So now we're going to next section. Next section is number 4. And now our topic is special contingencies. And it's like a little introduction, and it says there are some exceptions to the restriction mentioned thus far. The exception apply in cases of necessity and cases where the performance of call mitzvah call for tying a knot. Cannot believe. I think we did it. Okay, no problem. Okay, so again, cases of necessity. So it says, that now we combine the opinion, and I think here we go by combinations of like leniency of the first opinion and the second, and it's going to be like rabbinically forbidden, and our rabbis gave us leeway in this case. Okay, so it says also, although, as we stated above, that the tie double knot is regarded by most poskim as a professional knot, right? There are some poskim who maintain that if the knot is meant to last for less than 24 hours, right, it cannot consider professional knot. Okay, so according to their opinion, it is permitted to tie double knot with intent to undo it within the 24 hours. Okay. One may rely on this opinion in cases of necessity. It is thus permissible in case of necessity to tie the shoelaces with double knot, provided the laces will be untied when the shoes is removed. For example, child shoelaces come undone very frequently. It is permitted to tie them with a double knot, provided that one untie them that day. Okay, so let's try to understand. Let me learn my lesson and move the bookmark correctly. Okay. So again, cases of necessity. Let's go over to make sure that we did not miss anything. And it says, one second, quickly. Though as stated above, that the tied double knot is regarded most poskim as professional knot. So professional knot meaning in a sense that it's going to like a permanent. Okay. Here some poskim maintains that knot is meant to last less than 24 hours. So right, cannot be considered professional knot. So right, when we say professional, meaning that this professional, they did it on a permanent basis. So meaning like the example that we gave. they would adjust the nets, right, to catch the hilazon, this creature that they needed for the dye, right? Right. Okay, so meaning the goal for these nuts to be permanent, right? So under 24 hours for sure, it's not permanent. So here it's very interesting. He's not using the leniency of the 7 days, right? So he says only he's talking about less than 24 hours. According to the opinion, it is permitted to tie a double knot with intention to undo within the 24 hours. Right? One may rely on this opinion in case of necessity, as we said, in case of the shoelaces, in case of the coat. We said it's a loose double knot. It's not exactly tight, so maybe even more leniency. Okay, but the shoes, especially with kids, as we said before, like they make such a long shoelaces. I mean, for them it's relevant. They just make the standard one, but for a parent, it's very frustrating. Right, and the child always like step on them, right? Okay, so in this case, yes, you can tie the child shoelaces double knot, but be careful when if child take the shoes by himself or herself, you have to double check. That's your job, right? To double check and make sure that it's untied. Okay. Continue. Another rule mentioned above is that any knot that is meant to remain tight for more than 1 day is considered somewhat permanent and may not be tied on Shabbos. However, there are poskim who hold, right, that that only a knot that is meant to last for longer than 7 days, here we go, is considered somewhat permanent, and it is permitted to tie a non-professional knot, here we go, for up to the 7 days. This opinion too may be relied upon in case of necessity. So, okay. So that's, as we said, it's even more lenient opinion up to the 7 days. But in my mind, like most likely, if person did not do it and after 1 day, most likely he or she will going to forget. It's 7 days. It's like, why would they do it in 7 days? So if it's something that we use for Shabbos, so Shabbos is going to be 8th day. It's not 7th day. So, I mean, of course, as he said, you can rely on this opinion, but we have to be very, very careful. So try and not to put away things, leave it somewhere in the middle of the room or something, so you would not forget and to untie that. Okay. So let's quickly review. Another rule mentioned above is that any knot that is meant to remain tight for more than 1 day is considered somewhat permanent and not be tight on Shabbos, right? However, there are poskim who say that if it's only after longer than 7 days, considered somewhat permanent. Okay, so and we exactly the same rules, but instead of 24 hours, they say 7 days. Okay, so we can rely again. Try not to make a habit of it. Go by the stricter opinion, always to untie it, but we have to remember in the case of necessity, of course, with kids is necessity. If somebody is sick or something, we have to take care of a sick person. For sure, you can rely on this leniency. Okay, so next the next topic is mitzvah purposes. According to some poskim, it is permitted to tie a knot that is originally forbidden rabbinically. So rabbinically, what is rabbinically non-professional knot that will remain in place for more than 24 hours, but not indefinitely, for the performance of the mitzvah. However, this applies only if the mitzvah cannot be fulfilled without fashioning this type of knot. So it's very, very interesting. The way they say since so basically to combine all together. So our poskim say that it's you can tie the knot if it's not professional, right? So that up to that you're going to untie up to 24 hours, right? If needed, up to 7 days, but exception only if it's a real need. So whether it's real need is a mitzvah, but only if you cannot do the mitzvah other in any other way. So today, this wrapping around the Sefer Torah. I mean, I read this. I'm not right. I just read it in books, right? But did I see it anywhere? Like in the old Sefer Torah, I did not see. I'm not sure when they switch. There is like some clips or some. I'm not sure when exactly it took place. I mean, maybe in some primitive places that they would still use this wrapping around, but in most of the places it's not like this. Okay. For past, I don't know, 40, 50 years, 60 years, I don't know, like a long time ago. Okay. Just one second. So again, so they say, yeah, it is allowed even for a mitzvah if you cannot do it any other way. Okay, continue. This rule is pertinent to a very common situation. It is customary to roll up the Sefer Torah after the synagogue reading and tie it with a sash. Okay, they call it sash. Now, after the Mincha reading of Shabbos afternoon, the Sefer Torah does not stand to be used for several days. Thus, it is certainly forbidden to tie double knot in a sash. However, it would seem that it is forbidden to even a single knot and a bow, since the knot will remain worth more than 24 hours. Okay. Nevertheless, this is permitted for two reasons. Firstly, the knot is necessary for the performance of the mitzvah, binding of Sefer Torah, Gilila. Secondly, it's considered a case of necessity, in which one may rely on opinion that it's permitted to tie ordinary knot and will in place for 7 days. So I think we went over it, but quickly. Again, so this Sefer Torah, right, and you're not allowed, I just thought about, like, to wrap around and tuck the ends. Why? Because you might touch the Sefer Torah with your bare hand, and that's absolutely forbidden. So if somebody touch the Sefer Torah with bare hands, they hands become tameh. They have to go and wash them. Right. So that's why when we read the Sefer Torah, we have a yad, like this stick. Of course, a person who writes the Sefer Torah, this restriction does not apply to him, right? Or fixes the Sefer Torah or checks the Sefer Torah. But for all other people, it's absolutely forbidden. Why? Because there is not necessary, right? And like even when somebody like rolls the Sefer Torah, and sometimes it's a person like who sits with the Sefer Torah, who is on top and try to roll it. Some of them do not know what they're doing. And the cloth can fall from the stick, so you cannot touch it. It happened to me this Shabbos actually. Of course I was wearing talis when during the morning reading, so I picked it up with my talis. So otherwise it's not allowed. So if you don't have talis, for example, mincha, you take a belt, the sash as they call it, and you do it with the belt or something else, with the tissue or something, but you don't touch the Sefer Torah. Very important, right? So that's why they do not wrap and tuck the ends. Okay, so we say it is allowed to do a double knot or even a knot and a bow. I think if they do, I think they would not do double knot and a bow. Right? Why? It is for the mitzvah, and they're going to use it for like in the next 7 days for sure. But if they use it in the 7 days, so that's also a problem. For example, if they use, I'm not sure, on this Shabbos there are 2 Sefer Torahs. Don't remember. It's possible there is a Rosh Chodesh on this Shabbos. Maybe not. Maybe I don't remember. So let's say there are 2 Sefer Torahs, and one of them they read only for Rosh Chodesh. So in Shul where I pray, there are many Sefer Torahs. Baruch Hashem, they're blessed. But the problem is if you read from that Sefer Torah and you do a knot and a bow and you leave it there until the next month, that would be a problem, big problem. So for sure it's permanent. Okay. So when he allows it, it's only regular Sefer Torah, which you read on Mondays. Next time you're going to read on Monday. Continue. In a case where the Sefer Torah stands to remain unused for a longer period than 7 days, for example, used for Rosh Chodesh reading exactly, or holidays also. Or another example, right? From last Shabbos, right? It was a special reading of the like a maftir, so special maftir. Was it Paraduma? I think it was Paraduma, right? So it's from different Torahs. So I'm not sure how. I'm not an expert. There is a Gabbai. There are 3 Gabbais taking care of this Sefer Torahs. They know exactly, but sometimes this Sefer Torah would be next time used. I don't know, a few months from now, maybe 6 months. I don't know. Not very often. Okay, so of course we have to be careful. So it's not only Rosh Chodesh, but Rosh Chodesh is more often, but still it's more than 7 days. So the only basis for permitting the tying of the knot, bow knot, is that it's necessary for performance of the mitzvah. In such situation, if possible, one should merely wrap a sash tightly around the Sefer Torah and tucked in the ends, right? It's not considered a knot at all. Whereas this unfeasible, there is a sash may unravel. When may tie knot bow knot. So it's very interesting how he ends. So let's say this Sefer Torah when we read only on Rosh Chodesh, or this special one, as I said, that they read only on like special days, like special parshas. So he said that tied around. Why it cannot work if it's like more elastic on the elastic side? I'm not sure. So meaning that it's not going to hold. Elastic should hold. It should be tighter even. I'm not sure if it's very stiff. I'm not sure. Maybe it's very stiff. It's not going to be tight. So, but technically you can take with your talus, like not to touch the cloth, and you can tuck in. Okay. So continue. Practical application. Many practical applications of these laws are listed at the end of the following chapter, together with those of untying. Okay. So practical application, next chapter. Quickly check time. Okay. So I think we did this part before, but whatever happens, HaShem does things for the reason. So we just follow along. So let's stop here. 5 minutes break, and we continue with our topic. And today is a story night. 5 minutes. Very nice. So thank you very much for learning with us. Please join us tomorrow. We're going to continue with our class, Kosher Kitchen. BeEzrat HaShem. Thank you and good night.